In this episode, we're going to Mexico and we're coming back dead. You are never gonna believe where this story takes us. We open on a little beater screaming toward the Frontera Internacional that, despite the apparent rush, pulls over at a service station for some fruit. The hooded driver asks for some assistance, but after the proprietor takes a quick call, he invites her instead to play a game.
Truth or dare, Giselle?
She then sets the only other occupant of the store aflame, but since they're both hardcore gamers, I'm sure she'll understand. Then we head back stateside where we meet up with Olivia, busy setting up some promotional material for her planned Habitat for Humanity trip. Unfortunately, this would cause her to miss her final spring break with her bestie, Marky. Thankfully, Marky took it upon herself to unsign down Liv, so she's free to go, and the whole friend group softens the blow by agreeing to contribute 2 weeks of their own time to the cause after the semester's over. A fair trade. So they all pile into the ute and head for their destination. We then get an Instagram montage of their gallivanting about Mexico, arriving at their last evening where Olivia is still peeling Marky off of randos to save Lucas's feelings, just like a true friend who's in love with her best friend's boyfriend. Ronnie then finds her at the bar, coming on strong and requiring her to be saved by a gallant gentleman. She thanks him for his assistance by working hard to justify her personality traits, and in return, Carter offers to show her and her friends a special off-the-beaten-path spot to spend the final evening of their final spring break. And when they get there, it doesn't even seem haunted or mildly uninteresting. Carter sets them up with a few cold ones and Olivia goes exploring. She finds a little stash of reeking artifacts, but can't be sure if it's not just Ronnie. And then, right when everyone starts stretching, thinking about hitting the old dusty trail, Carter hooks them back in with the suggestion of a quick game of truth or dare. They start out slow with some basic questions and Ronnie giving a lap dance, even though he's terrible at it. But right when things seem to start ramping up, Tyson brings the mood right back down.
Are you aware that Olivia is in love with your boyfriend?
When Liv starts to clap back, Penelope tries to get them focused back on the fun aspects of the game. When it gets back to Carter, they ask his true intentions about inviting them there, so he casually admits he brought them specifically to play this game and transfer his curse onto them. From this point on, they must all tell the truth or complete the dare under pain of death. Olivia's somewhat bemused by this, but then has a visual hallucination that spooks her, but they all clear out and go home regardless. After they return to campus, we learn that Liv and Marky haven't been talking much since the revelations over spring break, but she's not too worried about it, because nothing could break their bond. She gets a little rattled when she finds she has a ghost flyer in the mail, and then a homeless man looks at her, but Marky busts in with the mojito peace offering, confirming that since her dad's suicide, Liv is basically her whole family now, and she'll never let a swinging dick come between them. As she continues with her day, she finds another message and Ronnie again. But when confronted, he informs her that there's nothing on her car. When she steps into the library, she's mobbed by a group of her peers who have devilish grins, and they insist she pick truth or dare, asking what's the deepest secret she's keeping for her friend. She blurts out,
"Marky's constantly cheating on Lucas!"
in front of a normal-looking library, which is fairly damaging to their various relationships. Later at the bar, we see Ronnie push a young lady to play with his pool cue in that charming way that he does, but she turns smiley and truth or dares him, suggesting that he show everyone his pool cue. Dirty Ronnie's not only game, but he calls the attention of the whole bar, making a big deal of it until a heckler shames him into keeping zipped up. With his intention now locked in, he himself becomes a smiley boy and seeks out the nearest path toward death, and he finds it. We then circle back with Olivia at the crib, trying to convince the remainder of the friend group of the odd occurrence she was witness to. They laugh at her silliness until they all get texts alerting them to the Snapchat that contains Ronnie's apparent unexpected suicide. The tone becomes serious, but there's still no proof it was a curse. It's not long, however, before Lucas begins to hear the siren call of the game, and as it etches the burning question into his flesh, he calls Liv to verbalize his amorous feelings for her, putting them both into a position now where they have to try to convince everyone else. At the girls' house, they work out that there's a turn order to the game, so they hope to work together to stay ahead of it. But this is a gaggle of shitheads who are determined to hold onto their credulity like it was made of gold. But during the convincing stage, Marky gets a text daring her to break Olivia's hand, and now they finally got a game going. Liv shows them how serious she is by handing her a hammer and offering up her phalanges, 4-room style. While this represents a satisfying salvation for Marky, the horror of it scatters the rest of them. While at the hospital, we roll over to it being Brad's turn, and right as he's trying to figure out what's real or imagined, Daddy arrives to deliver his options. In the aftermath, we learn he was forced, via truth, to come out to his father, and it was actually kind of a liberating experience. As more of the group are brought into the reality of the situation, they realize they have to try to catch up with Tyson as his turn is next. Unfortunately, he's moving beyond their reach, as he has an appointment for a med school interview he intends to crush with gusto. He manages to hold it together, but the interview ends on a strange note, with the dean asking him to tell the truth about his prescription forging business, and when he refuses to fess up, it causes him to go goofy. As the gang tries to get in and save him from himself, he shows the dean a magic trick in 2 parts. Back at the crib, Lucas comes up with the idea that they should all choose truth no matter what, and Marky suggests they try their best to see if they can locate Carter to find a way to end the game. Despite the limited information, they are able to wield the power of Google. Bingo! They find an article about the girl from the opening, and only have to spend $5 for a 12-month subscription to view it. Liv backs up the search on Facebook and finds Carter on Giselle's page, so they set up a fake account and DM her, knowing she's likely still checking in on her friend group from her hiding spot. Meanwhile, Penn has been busy getting her drink on and reminiscing about old times, when she accidentally slides inside a mirror. Awkward! But when prompted, she wisely picks truth.
Sorry, that's not how this game works.
That's exactly how this works. The others find out the choice is not always theirs when they discover Penn walking the ledge while finishing her juice. Since she has to complete her dare to live, they just work to make it as safe as possible, while she works to call forth the power of the Ibex. They attempt to help guide her through her dare with some obvious pitfalls ahead of them. Liv steps up to sacrifice her beamer as Penn finishes the bottle and blacks out, and they successfully bring her home. But they can't dwell on this now because Giselle hit Liv back in the DMs. They meet up with her in a back alley and proceed cautiously. She basically reiterates what they already knew, but with one addition. Her friends started the game as 2 truths in a dare, which is why they don't always get to choose truth. Then, when they call Olivia's name to leave, we learn Giselle is still playing and has her own dare to fulfill. She takes out Penn in pursuit of Liv before they can pin her down, which ultimately causes her to go wonky and use her demon strength to take herself out of the game. Olivia comes out with all the details to the detective investigating the incident, hoping in the course of questioning she may coax a little info out of him about Carter, but that name is not connected to his case as far as he's aware. After release, Brad splits off while they continue their research, Googling cursed missions in Mexico. Lucas finds an encouraging story about a mission massacre in Tijuana. Meanwhile, Liv is upstairs investigating a series of open doors, and she is very aggressively given her turn by a confused hobo. After Lucas returns from chasing him off, we learn Liv got a little saucy and chose dare, forcing her to sleep with Lucas. Assuming this to be her desired outcome, Marky holds it against her, as if they're not all currently the devil's playthings. After she storms off, Liv confides that she made her choice to avoid having to tell Marky a terrible secret, and her honesty is so arousing that they can't help but to get right to it. The end result is her truth or daring Lucas to completion, resulting in him truthing her brains out by letting her know that he favors infidelity and truly loves Marky over her. After concluding their research, they've identified the sole survivor of the original mission massacre, who they presume is the key to all of this. Elsewhere, Marky's getting T'd by her dad, and she reveals that she's been hanging on to his suicide gun, which he recommends she keep close. The next morning finds the crew taking a day trip to Tijuana, where they have to wait about an hour to see Grams, who hasn't spoken in 50 years. When they finally take audience with her, we learn the wait was due to her preparing a set of written statements about the curse. And it's your fairly standard stuff.
Demons possess people, places, objects,
and even games. They learn the person who summoned the demon may trap it again. One just needs to follow the appropriate rules, which are capped off by a sacrifice of the tongue. See? When they get back, they try to figure out how to identify and locate Giselle's friend Sam, who she had identified as the party who originally broke the pot to release the demon. But they get sidetracked when Brad's father shows back up again. They've circled around now to the required dare, forcing Brad to compel his father to beg for his life. But Daddy just wants to talk this out, delaying things so that before either of them complete their portion, his partner returns to pop Brad right through the spine. Familial connections be damned. While at the station afterward, Liv gets her turn, and just to demonstrate how meaningless the rules are, she chooses truth, but the demon dares her to tell Marky the secret she's been hiding. She sits Marky down to reveal that she was present on the night when her dad died. He had just lost his job and had been drinking. He came on to her, and in the fallout of her emphatic rejection, she suggests that he see about ensuring a deficit of existing into the future. And then he did. Before they can hug it out, Liv is called into the interrogation room, where the detectives reveal they've located activated her secret DMs and are a few steps closer than last time. He reveals the nefarious Sam, who she recognizes as Carter, and she manages to surreptitiously photograph the file before verifying that she's not under arrest and therefore free to leave. Lucas and Liv then head back to the house and bust in to find Marky point an AK-47 straight at her face. They dissuade her from this by revealing they are now privy to Carter's location, so maybe she can use her gat on him instead. They zoom on over there and bust into Sam's deprivation lair, which is looking pretty sweet, so he's not likely to go willingly. But Livy pulls out on that fool, and soon they're heading back to the old mission, where they've created so many lasting memories. They give Sam the tools of the ritual and press him blindly forward toward the goal. The earth gets to quaking beneath them, an inopportune time for a game, but Lucas gets his turn nonetheless. He immediately steps out as he's been dared to kill one of the ladies.
Why did you pick Dare?
Because I knew if I didn't, then one of you would have to.
But the game's almost over, idiot. But regardless, his sacrifice is so hot. With the incantations done, it's time for the surprise tongue cropping. As the girls hold Lucas down, Sam gets to cutting. While waiting to see if this was enough, Demon Lucas kills Sam and then himself, which seems a bit like a stretching of the rules. Liv then convinces Marky to choose Dare so she can parlay with the demon. She poses the truth or dare question to it, only to learn that there are no loopholes and no way out but to die. So as they race back home, Liv sends a post to her massive worldwide audience with warnings and rules of the game before asking them,
Truth or dare?
"Oh, you if that wasn't too much for you, be sure to check out this video next." Now that we're here, I want to congratulate you for making it to the end of the video and affirm that you are a very special person because of it. And if you enjoyed the video, I would love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.